This is the farmhouse, where I shot the Farmhouse video series. In this book 11, I'm going to go over the updates that we've done over the last 12 years, one room a year, and some things worked out and some things didn't. So just like the horse and buggy and the rail fence, we updated a few things that just didn't work out. For the pantry, we only had 3 updates over the years. The first was our little storage cubby that used to be the doorway going from the pantry into the living room. We never liked that little storage bar that you see here, but it was the only thing that we could find at the time, and it didn't even go the full width of the door. So one day when I was at Home Depot, I discovered that Home Depot carried an Everbuilt garage tool holder, and that one was 36 inches wide, which meant that it was actually a bit too wide for the doorway. However, we can fix that. So here you see we mounted it in the same place as the old bar, and as we zoom in to the left, you can see that we had to cut it just a little bit. I think it was one of the rollers and hooks, and that allowed it to fit full width so that we can hang more things. Now, this not only has those balls that lock a broom or dust mop or whatever, but it also has flip down hooks, and that allows us to put the same amount of things as the original, but we're not doubling up, and we still have room to put more things. So that was a definite plus. The next update was the ceiling light. Going back to when the ceiling fell down, the lath and plaster, this is the light that we put up. And that worked, but during the rebuild of the ceiling, apparently I did not get all 3 of the little screws tightened sufficiently, and the globe fell, hit the floor, and shattered. So we took a spare globe from the kitchen, the school light, and just stuck it up on the same mount. And that is what we used for a year or so. And then eventually I found another one of the Art Deco globes and put it up, and that stayed for many years until one day on eBay I found this Bakelite unit from probably the 20s or 30s. So I had to take all that paint off and then polished up the Bakelite, and then we mounted it. And we also had on hand a 3-light screw-in adapter that the lights will pivot, but we kept them parallel to the ceiling. And then we added 25-watt LEDs. That's what we're using today, and she who must be obeyed doesn't really like it, but I do. She thinks it's glary. I told her don't look at the ceiling. In our last update is the switch that turns on the under cabinet lights over the slop sink. Initially that was just a silver push button, and it worked, but we never really liked it, and when it failed I looked around for something else and I couldn't find anything, so I stuck another one in, and eventually I discovered these Leviton pop-in switches. I believe they were probably for a range. They were just pushed into the porcelain, and they had spade connectors on the back. Now, to get that rectangular hole cut in the 3/4 pine that was the valance, I had to get a special oscillating saw blade. I ended up going to Harbor Freight and I got a Bauer 3/8 inch wide. It's very narrow and deep, which allowed me to cut that hole precisely. And with the hole cut reasonably precisely, the switch popped right into the valance. And I think it looks a lot better than the push button. But it was a kind of nasty thing to cut because you were very near the edge of the pine board, and being deep, I couldn't use a regular blade. So it took a little work to get it, but I think it works better than the push button. So that's what we are going with currently. I'm hoping that it lasts, because it's vintage. So that are the 3 updates that we've done in the pantry.